This is it? This is what we need to build to make over 200 horsepower? Wait! No! Hey there guys, and welcome back to another episode of MyLamePerspective. Today we're picking up right where we left off, working on a Subaru EJ255. Timing belt seems to be giving me a little bit of a problem, so after consulting the Chiltons and a couple internet forums, we figured out there's actually a pulley down on the bottom that you have to take off so that you can remove enough tension to get the belt wrapped all the way around. With that done, you can start to focus on the cam gears. You can see there's kind of a special curved tool that you have to use. The cam gears will spin while you're trying to put on the belt unless you lock them into place. With the timing belt installed onto the front of the engine, the last step is just making sure you have enough clearance between the belt and kind of the housing around it. There's a small plastic tool that's included in the timing belt kit, so just use that to make sure you have enough clearance, and then finally the timing belt is installed. Alright, so timing is done. So now we're moving on to putting this guy on. And so we had to get some new clamps and some new hose. So we're slowly getting that figured out, and then we'll assemble the intake manifold. So here we are working on that. So got all the tape taken off of this. There's one gasket that we were missing, so I had to go pick that one up. And then we'll get the intake manifold assembled, plop that guy on top, figure out the brackets for the turbo, and then I think after clutch and flywheel we can put it into the car. So slowly but surely, tons of these hoses were just old and brittle. Yeah, look how cracked out that one is. So good to get those replaced. All right, next step, we're ready to put this guy on. Put him up there.
We are now twerking at 3.5 pounds.
Breakfast is served.
That'd be cool. Aaron likes Rockstar. Maybe I'll get it for him for his birthday. It's only a year. Wow. Dude, it's all these hoses. Dad and I went back and forth on this one for about 15 minutes. Front or below? Does this go front or below? All right, and now that we have the front cover on the engine, we can move on to the crank pulley. So we just have to take that bolt out, get the new one on, and then there's a special tool that you'll use to hold it in place while you tighten the bolt down to 135 foot-pounds. Holy crap. Ready? Yep. Stand on that, Shane. Hey. Woo! Alright, engine coming together. Mostly all new hoses. There's a couple I haven't been able to figure out yet. So just pulling these out now. And these are the sensors that go back here. Got these two working away. And then the next step, we're just going to move on to putting on brand new intake oil control valves for the AVCS system. So you just stuff those right into the front of the engine. The cam sensors are on the back of each head. And with those in place, we can move on to the exhaust manifold. All right, exhaust. Hey!
So we should take that off. I think we can do it now. Go that way or the other way?
I don't know. Just send it.
We got cuts.
This guy's sitting on. We got this sensor here. I think we're gonna have to use a 22 mil. Let that soak for a little bit. Moment we've all been waiting for.
Ah, my rock star! No,
There she is. It's only $500. Yep.
my carburetor was 400.
Button is only $50.
Now that we have the exhaust installed, we have somewhere to set the turbo, so we're going to go ahead and test fit that guy and kind of see what orientation it's going to be at. Pretty straightforward, but there's also a bunch of brackets that kind of go along with the turbo, so we needed to figure out exactly where each bracket went, and now was the perfect time to do it. So we're just kind of test fitting to see where things are going to go, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, just trying to figure out the brackets for the turbo. Got this guy where he's supposed to go. And then the intake manifold is almost done. Rat's nest is sort of figured out. These are still hard as a rock.
All brand new.
Woohoo! Alright, and at this point we hit our first major hurdle, and that was using the hose kit that I had bought. So I knew it wasn't going to be great when I bought it, but I did buy this hose kit off of eBay. And you can see it was specific for the Forester, and that was key. I didn't want to use a kit that was meant for WRX or for the STI. Those hose kits are similar, but a lot of forums said, hey, you should really try to get a hose kit that's specific to the Forester. The problem is that none of them are labeled, so you're always guessing, okay, does this hose go over here or does it go over here? And all the hoses were about 120% too big, so you had to trim a lot of them, and this is what just took hours and hours of our time. So honestly, I don't know if buying that hose kit really made a difference. It seems to have eaten tons of our time and energy. And again, I didn't expect that hose kit to be great, but I expected it to be better than it was. So you guys will see, we kind of started to lose it a little bit. And I fully blame the hose kit that I bought for our troubles.
Some say jigsaw puzzle hard. I say put together EJ25 with no instructions.
Jeez.
It's like doing a three-legged race with one leg. Well, Mr. Hose, on today's episode of MyLamePerspective, we reuse all the old ones. Hey, man. But I did the same thing on my truck. Don't tell nobody.
Don't forget your hose line. That both me, apparently.
This hose sucks.
Hey, yeah, what if you shot me in the
Look at that. Ow! I'll be the full-time vlogger at this point. Dad, I say we just take it back down to a short block and rebuild it right. What do you say, Mr. Aaron?
We hack up this hose?
You landed on the moon?
No way.
We landed on the moon! Heck, hack it up. You only live once. Buy another one.
I don't know if I need it.
Well, where else would it go?
Somewhere relatively easy to get to.
Now we do some precision cutting.
Let her rip.
Jiminy Christmas, this man's an animal. He doesn't even need no blade or nothing. He has the blade. He is the utensil, baby. Look at that. Damn! He's crazy.
Poor Shay when he goes through all this footage.
This is gonna be the most entertaining part.
How come he's been... Did you ever actually work on that yet?
Yes. Yeah, that one went a little bit.
Free falling.
Well, I'm heading home.
We good?
Yep, we're good. See you guys later. GG.
And now a total lapse of mental stability.
Be nice to Dad.
All right, now over here, I squeezed out about 5 bottles of maple syrup. And I dumped 3 soft hockey pucks in there, flipped upside down, and yeah, woof! Syrup!
Did you just look up sound effects? No.
Anyways, now that we have the engine up off the stand and on the hoist, we can access the flywheel. So we're going to get that one in there, get those torqued down, and then the clutch will come in right after that. Alright, and one last thing, let's get the clutch fork on so that that's ready to go, and then we can move on to putting the clutch over the top of the flywheel and finally get that engine installed into the Subaru. Alright, so finally, after several videos, it all leads to this. We're finally going to drop the engine into the Subaru. And then if we can just get it running from there, man, that's going to be some huge progress. So let's just drop this thing down in there, and we'll see what we got going on. But I'm really optimistic. Okay, wait. Here, hold on. Let me pull this thing out real quick. Something ain't right. If you guys have ever been working on a project, you know how frustrating it can be when you finally get things moving and you're making good headway and then you run into another roadblock. In my case, it's this little stud here. Normally not that big of a deal, but in my case, I also have a little stud in the exact same position on the block that I got from Subaru, meaning that I have to drill the old one out or the new one out so that I can put these two together. So while I'm disappointed that the engine's not in, I'm going to have to drill those out. Next episode, we get it done.